I'm going to step off the limb. That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Let the word go forth from this time and place that the torch has been passed to a new generation of Americans born in this century and unwilling to witness or permit the slow undoing of those human rights at home and around the world.
You, the people, have the power to create machines, the power to create happiness. You, the people, have the power to make this life free and beautiful, to make this life a wonderful adventure.
The only thing we have to fear is fear itself. Even though we face the difficulties of today and tomorrow, I still have a dream.
Hi everyone, welcome and thank you all for being here. My name is Sydney and I am the Special Events Manager for the Progressive Party. Over the next couple of days, we'll be sharing ideas, learning from one another, asking hard questions, and imagining what's possible when integrity, accountability, and community are at the core of our work. Please know that this isn't just a space to listen, it's a space to participate, reflect, and step into the shared responsibility for what's to come next. To open our convention, we're going to start with a keynote from our founder and party leader, Sydney Satellino. Sydney is a writer, leader, and lifelong activist whose journey began well before the founding of this party. After years of advocacy, both for others and in response to a deeply flawed and corrupt school system, she made the decision at just 19 years old to build something new rather than accept what wasn't working. Today, Sydney serves as a leading voice on the board of directors, helping shape the party's platform, outreach efforts, and candidate support. Her work is grounded in the belief that politics should be honest, accountable, and rooted in real action, not just optics. Her keynote, A Charter for Change, reflects on the moments that led to the founding of the Progressive Party and the belief that politics does not have to be defined by empty promises or performative leadership. It explores how real movements are built, not waiting for permission, but by people choosing to step up together and take responsibility for their future. So everybody, please join me in welcoming our party founder and leader, Sydney.
Hello. Thank you guys so much for supporting the party and to getting us to this moment. We have been wanting to have a convention ever since the beginning over a year ago, and seeing all of you all here today to support the party and to chart its future means a lot to me. I remember when the first time I thought about getting into politics, I was 3 years old. I had no clue what I was even getting into. I just knew that I wanted to make the world a better place and paint the White House pink. But all in all, I knew that there wasn't any female representation in the highest office in the land. So I wanted to create something better, and I wanted to show people that girls like me could lead. As I grew older and learned more about the injustice in the world, I knew I needed to fight it. I remember I was 10 years old. I was trying to become student body president at my elementary school, but I had a bigoted principal and she did not let me run just because I had autism and I had trouble regulating my emotions. I remember feeling so crushed. I felt like just because I was autistic, just because I was neurodivergent, no one like me could ever make a stand. And I remember feeling so dejected, so hopeless, feeling like nothing would ever come true, that my dreams were invalid. I then spent more of my time working on films and writing. And while those pursuits do mean a lot to me, and I still work on them to this day, the thing is, I didn't really feel fulfilled. And as things started to get worse in the country, as I started learning more about the two-party system and the military-industrial complex and lobbying and how unethical corporations are, I knew I couldn't sit there and watch as our current systems did nothing to help us. I remember once when I was advocating for the Uyghur Forced Labor Prevention Act being passed in 2021. I remember I was interviewed by a major news outlet that was trying to ask questions about my advocacy. And earlier that year, they were able to do a puff piece of, oh, how nice, a little girl is changing the world or whatever. And then I found out that, what happened was, I remember I found out that a Chinese factory that was employing Uyghur forced labor in their production lines was lobbying the government to make it still legal. And I remember feeling so crushed. Why would our politicians, why would people who are supposed to represent us take bribes? And I remember feeling so hopeless. And I called up that person who wrote that piece about me. I was like, come on, we need to do another interview. I need to tell everyone the truth. And what happened? She never replied to me. And the other person that I interviewed with earlier that year basically said, hey, this isn't worth of story. And I was like, what? I remember feeling so lost. Like, was this the status quo? Was this the liberty and justice for all that we were told was happening? Was this how we were supposed to accept the world? I remember feeling so lost. And then a couple years later, basically it came to my door when the high school that I went to just weeks before my graduation announced a new policy that would basically bar any queer representation in the curriculum and in school libraries. I was part of the school's Gay Straight Alliance for a little bit, and I remember just feeling so crushed. Like, why would they do this? Why would they try to censor what we're trying to learn? Why would they try to make their own students feel alone? I remember I was the only student who really participated wholeheartedly in advocacy against this. And I remember I was like, won't anyone else do something? And then I remember I was at that protest that I did all by myself. And I saw someone who basically didn't do anything to help the students in my county. They were a head figure in the local Democratic Party. And I remember him asking me, hey, Sydney, do you want to speak at our party meeting? And I wholeheartedly told him, I don't believe in the two-party system. That night, I was thinking about what more I could do, how I could challenge these systems that haven't been protecting us, that have jacked up the prices of healthcare, that have protected the interests of corporations and the elites while putting the common man down. I remember thinking, what am I supposed to do? I was only 18 years old at the time and I wasn't sure. But then I eventually decided I'm going to run for president. I'm going to do the thing that they told me that I never was going to be able to do. I was going to stand up and fight. I was going to be the person who would do it. And over the last couple of years, I have been building to this. And now, at just 19, just a year after that epiphany, the Progressive Party was born. And now this isn't just one woman's dream to become president of the United States anymore. Now it's people all across the country fighting for something better, for universal health care, to make the price of groceries go down, to bust up corporations, to end endless war, to make everyone's lives better, to change America for the better. I remember feeling so alone back when I started this journey, but now I'm not alone anymore. Now people like you are fighting to make change, and I want you to make that change even harder. I want you to sign up for membership for the Progressive Party. I want you to sign up to run for office. I want you to volunteer. I want you to spread the word. I want you to act, because we need to. We need change. We need this current two-party system that we have. It's not working. It needs to go. We need to fight. I always come back to this quote. It's one of my favorite bands. And the quote is, "A hero is just a man who knows he's free." And we can all be the heroes. It can't just be one person expecting to do this. It takes all of us. No matter who you are, no matter where you come from, no matter what part of the country you live in, no matter your walk of life, if we all united against the two-party system, if we all united against the corporations, if we all united against the people who are trying to keep us down, they won't be able to keep us down anymore. We are going to be able to flip a switch and turn it off and let the world carry on, and we are going to be able to change America for the better. And I believe in this party. I have spent so much time working on it. The rest of the staff has, the board of directors, even the members that are here right now. We wouldn't be here without you. And this is just the beginning. We're going to win so many elections in 2026. We're going to win even more in 2028. We're going to go up and up and up. And when I enter the White House in 2041, it won't be the beginning. It will just mark the beginning of a new era where we will be able to change things once and for all. This is the beginning, and we are going to be able to create a better America for all. One that harkens back to the founding words of this country, we the people. Thank you. Yeah, if anyone has any questions, please let me know. Okay.
Awesome. Well, thank you everybody for listening. We are going to take a brief 15-minute break. If anybody does have questions for Sydney, please feel free to put them in the chat. And sorry, we will return at 8 o'clock for the mini candidate panel. Thank you. Okay, now you can hear me. Hi, everybody, and welcome back. Next up, I am going to be chatting with Sydney a little bit more to answer some of the questions that you guys had about the convention and then just some of the party policies and platform in general. So I'm going to welcome Sydney back to the stage.
Hi.
Awesome. Well, first question, we're going to start off easy. People were asking, what time is the convention each day, and is there a free way to view the convention for the rest of the time here?
Yeah, so almost every event is free except for the after parties that are in our Discord voice chat, which you need to be a member to gain access to the Discord. And then also, if you register by midnight tonight to vote on our new party chair, then you'll be able to get access to those panels. But most panels on the for the convention are completely free. And our convention time tomorrow starts at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and it goes all the way up until our after party at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And on Sunday, we're starting a little bit later. We're starting at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we're going all the way to 7:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Amazing. Awesome. So everybody can join completely for free. Some of the events will be here. You can watch on YouTube Live or on Instagram Live, wherever you guys are watching from. And then a lot of our other workshop, more interactive ones will be on Zoom. Awesome. Next question. I've been seeing a lot of conversation in the chat about this as well. But what is the difference between the Progressive Party and then Liberal Democrats? And should we be worried about splitting the vote and helping Republicans win?
Okay, so I get this question a lot, but my biggest point is that the Progressive Party is starting small. We're starting in local and state legislature elections, and most of which are uncontested. And 70% of major elections in those areas were uncontested in 2024. And this is an area of politics that a lot of people aren't getting their foothold in. And all change starts local, but a lot of the local elections, the people only have one choice, and we're giving people a choice. As for our biggest differences between Liberal Democrats, I mean, you can look at our platform for more of that information, but our biggest point is that we do not take any corporate dollars. I mean, if you go to Open Secrets and you see look up basically any company, you see that their PAC funds major parties, both major parties. They go straight into the DNC, straight into the RNC. We don't do any of that. All of our money is directly from the people. And also we are honest about our policies. We don't virtue single, we don't flip flop. And we want, instead of letting Lockheed pay off our party, instead we are against war, and we want to provide diplomatic solutions to conflicts instead of just getting richer. We don't do insider trading like our good friend Nancy Pelosi does. We don't take any money from corporations, and we want universal health care. We do not take any money from the insurance lobby. And most importantly, we actually care about what we're talking about. And instead of just using marginalized groups as rhetoric and then basically pushing them aside when it's convenient, we actually want to fight for people.
Yeah, I love that. Amazing. And if anyone is interested in I'm not going to get super deep dive into policy specifics right now, but tomorrow we will be doing a deep dive into the party programs and infrastructure. We'll be doing a deep dive into the platform, explaining what the Progressive Party stands for on each of these topics. So definitely stay tuned tomorrow if you want some more specific answers and specific policies that the Progressive Party supports. Awesome. Thank you, Sydney. Next question, I know you mentioned starting local is a really big thing. And so can you kind of explain the You Can Run campaign that you guys have been kind of launching for 2026 and kind of how that started and what that's about, and if people want to get involved, what they would need to do?
Yeah, so the You Can Run program, we've been running it since September. And basically it's where everyday normal people can just go to our website, fill out a Google form, and then they will get assigned with a You Can Run coordinator, which is a trained member of our staff that will help guide them through elections. And they have an initial meeting, and then after they fill out the process, then they are able to run for office in their community, and they are able to promote the Progressive Party on the ground with their ideas and actually helping people. And we have a good chunk of candidates that have signed up. I'm really happy with the results so far. And we should be announcing our first campaigns in the new year, which I'm so stoked about. We have been working so hard to get to this moment. I've been working closely with all the You Can Run coordinators on this program. They are excited. I am excited. And it just means so much to me and the rest of the party. And I'm just super excited.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm excited too. Can people find, like, if they want to run, would they just go to the website to find that, to sign up?
Yes. So you can go to youcanrun.progressforus.org, and there's a dedicated You Can Run site where you can learn all about running with the Progressive Party, and they will be able to sign up. And we also have a program called Choose Your Leaders where you can refer someone else to get contacted by the Progressive Party to run.
Awesome. And is this going to be the first time that you guys, or that we're running people on the ballot as Progressive Party in 2026?
Yeah, so our first time we're going to be running people as independents, but endorsed by the Progressive Party. This is because we're so new and we haven't really been able to invest in ballot access all that much. But my hope is that we are going to be able to use the momentum of our wins in 2026 to get us permanently on the ballot in 2028.
Awesome. Awesome. And then kind of going from there, how do you plan, or do you hope to spread your message from state to state? And how do you kind of plan to expand the party outreach as time goes on and we kind of start to get less local and more expand kind of the reach?
Yeah, so we are recruiting local and national organizers on our website right now. You can sign up at progressforus.org if you want to help become an organizer and volunteer. We're going to put boots on the ground. We have a program called We Can Win, which says it on the tin. We're going to help our candidates win. And so we are going to be able to have groups both locally and nationally through our member Discord server that will help mobilize volunteers and spread the word about campaigns. I'm going to be posting a video every time a new campaign is launched so people know where to go, how to support that candidate, and so we can get some good victories next year.
Amazing. Awesome. Transitioning into kind of ways that people can support if they're not wanting to run for office. First question that we kind of got is, do you have to donate to become a part of the Progressive Party? And if so, how much is that minimum donation?
Yeah, so for party membership, you do have to donate, or you can volunteer. You can volunteer and you can get access to Progressive Party member benefits for free. But if you don't want to volunteer, then the biggest thing you can do to help support the party is by becoming a member. It's only $6 a month. You can obviously go up, but $6 a month is the base. And we do not take corporate dollars, like I mentioned, so we need to stay competitive in other areas. So donating and becoming a member means so much to us, so we can function, we can pay for essential services, we can start pushing out candidates, have more local outreach. Every dollar counts.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, grassroots campaign, definitely. Anybody that can afford to be a member, it means a lot, even just $6 a month minimum. And when you say volunteer, can you give some examples of what like volunteer positions would look like, or if someone wanted to get involved in volunteering, what they would need to do in order to do so?
Yeah, so all you need to do is go on our website, progressforus.org/volunteer, and there's a form you can fill out where you can say what you want to volunteer from. We are looking for, people for our communications department, people for our treasury department, people who can be on the ground organizers, people who can just spread the word about the party. And Yeah. So basically, you can just go to the website, fill out the form, and you should be contacted by our amazing Chief of Staff, Ajak, if we are interested in going forward with your application. And it should be like an interview, and then you'll get hooked into our Slack, hooked into our Discord, and you'll be able to start volunteering.
Yeah, and there will also be a session later in the convention on Sunday that I will be facilitating with you guys, in which we'll kind of explore what a volunteer opportunity could look like and kind of getting into a deep dive of each individual's strength and then what kind of the Progressive Party will need in terms of volunteering. So definitely stay tuned for that if you guys are interested in volunteering. Another question. What is the best thing that people can do if they're not able to donate or volunteer?
Yeah, so I get a lot of this questions, especially from people who aren't 18 yet and people who are from foreign countries. I'd say the biggest thing you can do if you can't volunteer, if you can't donate, if you are too young to volunteer, too young to donate, spreading the word means a lot because we're such a new party and people don't know that there's an option beyond the two-party system. So just telling a friend, telling a neighbor, telling a parent, just spreading the word about the party in any way possible. Maybe telling a teacher at school, maybe telling, going to your niche band's fan Discord and saying, "Hey, join the Progressive Party." Like anything that could help, just spreading the word means a lot, especially as we grow out of these early stages and into elections.
100%. Yeah, conversation is super, super important. Okay, another kind of like a random question here. What would you say are automatic, not allowed beliefs in the Progressive Party, or are there any beliefs that you would consider not allowed?
Well, bootlicking for corporations, taking money from the war lobby, racism, homophobia, stuff like that. Basically, any hatred in any form, we do not want to see that there.
Yes, love that. Wonderful answer. Okay, next question here. How many states does the party have members in? And then how many states are, how many people have kind of inquired to run in how many states?
Yeah, so we have applications from 35 states and Puerto Rico when it comes to running for office. So we're making headway across the 50 states. My goal is to hopefully get people to sign up from all 50 states. My fingers are crossed that that's something we're going to be able to hit in 2026. It would be a dream come true to have candidates from all across the ballot and every single state.
Yeah. Okay. Transitioning more into some questions about you personally, Sydney. What are your next moves in 2026 in order to prepare for your future presidency?
Ooh, that's a good question. I mean, I'm probably going to, read some more, learn some more history. And also one thing that I want to do is I want to, help the Progressive Party win because I cannot have a successful presidency if the Progressive Party doesn't succeed. And I want the Progressive Party to succeed with all of my heart. And another thing I'm going to be prioritizing in 2026 is my mental health. I have been open about being neurodivergent. I have autism, anxiety, depression, BPD, PTSD, a laundry list of things. So I have had to learn how to, you take care of my mental health while running for office. And as someone who is openly having all those conditions as a political figure, it's been a learning experience, and I definitely want to, I've made improvement this year and I want to get even better next year.
Yeah, I love that. Your mental health is so important, and I think it is so uncommon for people in politics to be openly kind of letting people know where they're at, especially mentally. And so I think it's especially important that that is a priority. And we will have another session later on Sunday talking about neurodivergency and burnout and kind of how we can manage that, especially in political spaces. Awesome. Next question, what is something that you are working on right now for the Progressive Party that you're really excited about?
Yeah, well, most of my energy has been on the You Can Run program, helping that thrive. But we actually just finished Platform Hero, which is basically our crash course to politics for candidates so they can learn how to run a campaign before they start to run it. So they can learn how to file to get on the ballot, how to fundraise, how to manage a team, all the things that they need to learn to run a successful campaign that people who run with third parties often don't get. So we wanted to give that education to our candidates. And now we had this week, we have put our first candidates into Platform Hero. So I'm super excited about that.
That is super exciting. What is the next step when it comes to kind of like getting candidates ready to run?
Yeah, so this is the final step. Once they go through Platform Hero and secure our endorsement, then they get to hit the ground running with their campaign. And so I'm hopeful that in the new year, we are going to be able to launch our first campaigns. And just thinking about it makes me so excited.
That's awesome. And kind of some of the questions that I've received from people throughout kind of organizing this convention as well is what support do people get from their You Can Run coordinators? I know some people are just very intimidated by even the thought of running. They kind of have no idea what to expect. So what does the You Can Run coordinator do for that person exactly? And the Platform Hero as well. What kind of support are they going to be getting?
Yeah, so they're going to be getting a lot of education through Platform Hero, which I touched on, but also with their You Can Run coordinator, they get someone who they can ask questions to, someone who they can confide to, someone that, can help lift their spirits when things are down, or someone that can just be there for them and show that running for office is often solitary, but it doesn't have to be solitary here. We can show that we as a community will be able to create something better.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, I'm gonna kind of shift us back into some more like platformy questions and kind of just about the party in general. So why do you think making third party from scratch is better than working with an existing independent party or even the Democratic Party?
Yeah, so I wanted to create a brand new party so we can, start fresh. We can, build something that isn't beholden to corporations or elites or dysfunction or anything else. I just wanted to, like I said, start from scratch, build something better with the people.
And how do you plan on succeeding long term as a third party in what is set up to be a two-party system currently?
Yeah, so like I said, starting local and winning those local state legislative races is key. And then as those people's political careers expand, they will be able to start running for higher office. They'll be able to run for Congress, for governorships, for all the bigger things, but with the credibility that the Progressive Party is an established party and the credibility that they have as office holders doing the right thing for the people.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, last couple of questions here, and then we're gonna wrap things up and kind of go on break until we have our mini candidate panel. First one is, what are your thoughts on universal basic income?
That's a really good question. I need to research more into that because we are writing a new platform in 2026. We don't have a position on UBI in the current platform, but I want to do more research, and we are having a platform committee convene next year, and hopefully if people sign up for that in the new year, maybe they'll be able to do some of that research with me. Wouldn't that be cool?
Yeah, and what about universal health care? Can you kind of explain the Progressive Party thinks about that and what that even really means for people that might not be as familiar?
Yeah, so I'm diabetic, and healthcare for me costs thousands of dollars a year just because my pancreas gave out. And so, because of that, it's really unfair for people like me who have pre existing health conditions and people that have health conditions. It's so heartbreaking. And it just boggles my mind that insurance companies and big pharma gets the profit off of our conditions because they lobby the government to make us think, hey, this is completely normal when every other country in the world has some sort of universal healthcare program that keeps costs low or makes it free. We want to make healthcare free at the Progressive Party because no one deserves to, have to pay an arm and a leg just to live.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. 100%. And then if you were to highlight, like, let's say 3 policies or 3 parts of the platform that like kind of summarizes the main things about the Progressive Party, what 3 things would you guys, or what 3 things or what 3 policies would you want to highlight for people that are watching right now?
Yeah, so we want to end hunger. We want to break up big grocery corporate mega monopolies so that food can be more affordable. We also want to expand SNAP, expand WIC, raise the age of WIC, and make sure that people will be able to basically have food under their roofs at all times. And so that's something that matters a lot to me. Another thing that matters a lot to me, especially right now, is making sure, like I said, universal health care, but also, just having a more humane policy for, people with disabilities, especially in education, because curriculums are one size fits all. And I know as a neurodivergent individual, it would be much easier if the curriculum wasn't so rigid and I could actually like apply to different types of brains. And one final thing that I'd want to highlight is the fact that we want to get big money out of politics, end insider trading, and overturn Citizens United. We want to pass the 28th Amendment to overturn it and get big money out of politics and make our politics for we the people again.
Awesome. And what is there any kind of markers of success that you're looking for in terms of for the Progressive Party? I know maybe like getting candidates into local office. Outside of that specifically, is there anything that like a number of volunteers or a number of memberships that you're kind of shooting for in 2026?
Yeah, I'd say I really want to expand our member base. I definitely I have a lot of followers online, but I want to turn more of those followers into members. So if you're watching now and you're one of my followers, sign up at progressforus.org and become a member today. And my hope is that we're going to be able to, bring that to life and get more people and get more candidates into office and win.
Amazing. And as your time as like kind of a public political figure, do you have any advice for people that are kind of just starting out in politics? Maybe they're a little bit nervous about sharing their views or their opinions online. Do you have any advice for those people about kind of getting the conversation started and having a presence online?
I'd say just find a community, find people you can talk to even when things get tough, and don't read all of your comments. My sanity got a lot easier when I just stopped reading all the comments. And there's some nice stuff, but when the trolls come in, I don't want to let it stop me because who knows, it might be some bots paid by the Democrats and Republicans.
Okay, amazing, Sydney. Well, thank you so much. Is there anything else that you would like to share with kind of the crowd here to get this convention started off before we transition into the next thing?
Yeah, I'd say never give up. And we are on our way to a more successful future, one where things will be great and a future where we don't have to suffer anymore.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Sydney. I really appreciate it.
Right. Bye.
Bye. Okay, everybody. Next up, we will be hearing from Ajax in about 4 minutes here. So go ahead and grab a drink of water, go use the restroom, and when we get back, Ajax will talk to us about what you guys are actually going to be voting for at this convention, the party chair position, with kind of like a description for you guys so that you guys have an idea of what the rest of the convention will be. I will see you all in just a couple minutes.
Hi, jump scare. I'm Ajak. I'm the Chief of Staff. Thank you all for joining us tonight. I am here because I want to talk to you about a really important thing that I'm sure you've seen all up in your face over the last couple of weeks. The Progressive Party, like many political parties, elects its party chair. In this segment, there was supposed to be a panel, which you were probably expecting to come to. Well, in this section, there was supposed to be the fireside chat that just happened. But in the section before this, there was supposed to be a panel where we got all of the candidates into the room and you were able to ask them questions. And I was able to ask them questions and some few other people. We just like asking our elected officials questions around here, and we expect them to show up when we ask questions of them too. Unlike our favorite Democratic Party, which can't their David Hogg because they disagreed with him. That's not the point, though. The point is that we had some link scuffles. We were worried that because of different accessibility to this session, that we couldn't get everyone in. So we decided not to host that. But instead, I'm going to tell you about what the position is, what it means, because I don't think that we really, like, it may not be instantly off the top of your head, like, what is a party chair, right? If you want to meet each of the chair candidates, they've all been invited to our Discord server. If you're a member, you can join that to voice chats that are happening throughout the night tonight after a keynote from Hunter Miranda from California. But also tomorrow, at 3:45 p.m. Eastern Standard, there will be another party chair candidate panel that has a link that's already been sent out, and we know that that works, and you'll be able to see them all there. Also, if you're in the Discord, you'll be able to pop open a window with each of the candidates' pictures and a direct line so that you can message the candidates. I'm going to pull up some images, and we're just going to talk through some things. I'm going to present what the role looks like and what the role is. I'm going to present how you can see some of the information about who's running online. Then we will, if you guys have questions and we have time, I'll open the floor so you can ask questions. Wait, there's an applause button here, right? I love that. Okay, let me, everyone tell me what's your favorite peanut butter to put on spaghetti while we're waiting. You don't have to do that. Let's share this. I'm horrible, ain't I? This is just an overview of what the chair does. Now, when you're electing the chair, you should be thinking about what the job of the chair is. Well, I know some people would, but you wouldn't want to cast a vote for the president if you didn't know what the president did. For a senator if you didn't know what they did. So you should be mindful of what the party chair does too. The party chair, they run the operation. They are the big picture. They're researching our strategy. Where are we going to run? Where are we going to win? They're managing teams within the departments, tracking volunteers. They're building tons of handbooks. I am the chief of staff. I am also the acting party chair. So a significant amount of the work that I've done and helped build up, such as our You Can Run volunteer training, or You Can Run platform hero training for candidates, so many Google Forms, so many spreadsheets, and that's something that the party chair candidate should be on top of. If I was looking for a party chair candidate, I would look for someone who meets the descriptions of the jobs. A good party chair tends to be organized and good at planning, able to communicate and manage a team. It can be scary managing a lot of people, trust me, I know. And they should be a strong researcher too, so they can come up at the top of the stack and make sure that you have the best results for what you're working with. I'm just going to keep doing this. If you go online to progressforus.org, you'll see this. This is going to be up there all weekend. The button at the bottom, the join current event, gets you to the current event. That's probably how you got here. There's to get your free tickets, to get your schedule. None of that's relevant when it comes to the election for the party chair. What's relevant is that green box up there, information for party members. If you're not a party member, you can still look into it. You're just not going to be able to vote because you're not a party member. Of course, we want you to vote. You should become a party member. There's the more info button, and there's the become a member button. If you hit the more info button, it'll take you to a page that has this at the top. It gives you the brief job description, the same job description we gave to everyone who signed up to run. It tells you about when ballots are going to be distributed and how they're going to be distributed. And it tells you about opportunities that you have to interact with the party chair candidates. The ballots are going to be distributed tomorrow at 4:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's important to know, Eastern Standard Time. So kind of mentally roll that back. 4:45 Eastern, 3:45 Central, 2:45 Mountain, 1:45 Pacific. And you'll have 24 hours to turn in your ballot. Your ballot will come in your email, of course, and there will be instructions in said email to sign in. If you are in the Discord server, which you should be as a party member, the link is in your email, and you've not received the ballot email, if you voice that, we'll have a specific channel open just for ballot support requests. We can't tell you which way to vote, but we can help you figure out how to vote. If you scroll down on this same page, you'll encounter another little window that looks like this. We have three. There we go. We have 3 candidates that are running in these elections. The way that this works, the candidates filled out an initial application. Everyone who filled out the initial application was moved forward. We gave them another form to fill out that we've been using in internal elections for a little bit now, called the candidate portfolio, and they asked questions within the candidate portfolio. Their responses to those questions pop up if you click on those little green boxes. There was one more thing that I was going to do at this time, and I've forgotten it. I want to be respectful of your time, and I want to give you a little bit of a break if you would like one. But I want to read to you like what our upcoming events are before we do that. I'll pass it back to Sydney Binns before we break off. But we did not do the panel tonight with the candidates. You'll be able to join them in a voice chat on Discord at 9:30 p.m. EST. That's tonight. Tomorrow, we'll have the rally at 1 p.m. EST, where we'll meet the people behind the movement, review party programs and infrastructure, look at the Voters' Bill of Rights, and have a panel Q&A with the board of directors. If you show up at that, you'll have a little bit bigger of a picture of what the job of party chair looks like, because you'll be able to deeply understand all of the programs. At 3:15 p.m. EST, there's a review of the bylaws and the voting process. If you're unfamiliar with how the board of directors and the Progressive Party works, you should show up there and learn a little bit about it. The party chair candidate panel will be at 3:45 p.m. EST tomorrow. Once again, that's 3:45 p.m. EST. That's 2:45 Central, 1:45 Mountain, 12:45 Pacific. And exactly an hour after that, at 4:45 p.m. EST, that'll be the elections opening ceremony. I hope to see you there. I hope to see you at all of these events so you can get a better understanding of what the party chair does. The party chair is going to work with Sydney. The party chair is going to work with me. The party chair is going to work with our treasurer to make sure that we have the best ship that we can, to make sure that we are operating tip-top programs, getting volunteers exactly where we need, getting them trained, and keeping you engaged. Thank you for coming out. And I'll open questions for just a little bit. This user says crunchy. I don't know if we want the party chair to be crunchy or not, but I can definitely ask. We should probably ask the chair candidates if they want to be crunchy. Jif. I'm also glad to be here. Oh, this is about the slimy peanut butter comment I had earlier. I see, Chunky. I was so disoriented. Okay. I'm gonna head out. Thank you all for joining us. I'm gonna pass it off to Sydney Binns, and I'll see you all tomorrow. That's not your name. Yes, it is.
Awesome. Thank you, Ajax. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for sticking with us. We are going to have another break here. Our next scheduled talk is at 9 p.m. Eastern Time or 6 p.m. Pacific Time. It'll be by Hunter Garcia Miranda, who is from California, and he is running for Congress. And he will be getting started at 6 p.m. Pacific or 9 p.m. Eastern Time. All right, we will see you guys very soon.
Watch this.
Hi again, everyone, and welcome back. Next up, we will be hearing from Hunter Garcia Miranda, who is an example of what it means to step up and challenge systems that no longer serve the people that they're meant to represent. Hunter is a proud fifth-generation Californian born and raised in Orange County, and now he works as a California attorney. He began his legal career in state and municipal law and policy, and currently he also works in immigration law in a pro bono capacity. After entering Democratic politics, Hunter came to a clear realization. Real change requires voices willing to challenge the establishment and confront the influence of corporate power head-on. In his keynote talk, Fighting for Our Future, Hunter explores why meaningful change won't come from service-level reform, but from people stepping into positions of power, organizing collectively, and building a political system that serves working people rather than wealthy interests. Everybody, please join me in welcoming Hunter Garcia Miranda.
Thank you so much. Yeah, so grateful to be here, and hello, fellow progressives. Hope everyone's having a great night. So first off, I want to thank the Progressive Party for the invitation. I'm extremely excited for this event and beyond impressed with the work that y'all have done and continue to do. It is so exciting to see our generation stepping up and taking power back for the people. My name is Hunter Garcia Miranda. I'm a progressive, fifth-generation Californian, Orange County native, a member of the Choctaw Nation, and an attorney running for Congress because we can't wait any longer to reshape our political system. Both in California and in Washington, D.C., I've been in and around politics for years, and after working on policy for a decade, I quickly realized that the same types of politicians we keep sending to Washington clearly aren't going to bring the real structural change our country needs. One simple answer to this is because of corporations and corporate greed. As the youngest generations, including mine, enter the workforce, try and buy homes and start families, the crises are so different from those of older generations. While our parents' and grandparents' generations purchased homes and concentrated wealth for decades, the decisions made by administrations in Congress recreated the system, leaving the bottom 99.9% of our country subjected to the will of the few. We have grown up in a country where healthcare is failing and medical debt is the leading cause of bankruptcy in our nation. A country where military-grade weapons, a lack of mental health resources, xenophobia, and governmental attacks on the Department of Education, separately and together, make our education systems vulnerable and fractured. A country where we divide folks through religion, sexuality, race, and gender, when the true threat hovering over us is the class war imposed by CEOs and billionaires. To the naked eye, maybe the American dream is still attainable or even exists at all, but that doesn't reflect the reality on the ground. As the cost of living outpaces wages, all of us are left in limbo, where the ability to pay rent, buy groceries, and even dream of a better future seems to carry a heavy price tag. And this isn't just a Republican-created problem, although they're doing their fair share of making it worse. Both parties carry responsibility for pricing out their constituents out of life itself and mortgaging their well-being. Establishment corporatist Democrats, the exact types we are challenging, have not learned the lessons of a failing party that lost to Donald Trump twice, the most unqualified and unfit man to hold office. And instead of choosing to change course and learn from their mistakes, they doubled down and turned back to their major donors and corporate interests. We have learned that if you're not willing to change, we must take the power for ourselves and create the change that we need to see. No party is going to come save us, and we must put ourselves into positions of power to create that change. It doesn't have to be this way. We can take back the American dream, make it reflect reality, and ensure it's attainable for everyone. But that starts with electing the right leaders who seek input and solutions for working class Americans, as opposed to billionaires who try to keep us quiet. Their lies and fear-mongering have divided the working class and turned us against one another to their benefit. We must look beyond these lies and see our shared humanity and desire for all of us to live our lives with dignity and hope. We deserve leaders who look beyond party affiliation in an effort to create lasting structural change. Leaders who know that if we are truly going to unrig our economy, we can reach our potential as a nation, something we have yet to fully live up to. Some of those leaders are already in key races across the country. I want to give a shout out to Citizens Impeachment, a group of true patriots committed to electing pro-democracy, anti-corruption candidates across the nation as part of the Courage Coalition, which I'm very proud to be a part of. So be sure to make sure that you check their website and see if there's any candidates running in your district, and be sure to support them. With the right leaders, it is possible. I truly believe that, and it's exactly why I'm running. Time is up for the oligarchy and the elected officials who have their feet kicked up while the working class and our youngest generation struggle to simply live. In closing, I'd like to try and define what fighting for our future, the topic that this talk is about, looks like to me. First of all, it looks like all of you, for people showing up, for using your voice in your communities, your campuses, on social media, in our community spaces, anywhere where there are ears to listen to what we have to say. There's so many ways to make a difference, and I want to thank each and every one of you individually for how you've chosen to spark change. Second, it means recognizing your agency, questioning the status quo, and demanding more from those in positions of power. And I think that Gen Z is the best reflection of what it looks like to actually do these things. From fighting for racial justice to demanding sensible gun regulation, holding corporations and the wealthiest accountable to us, the people, to actually getting into Congress, Gen Z is leading the charge, and they still never get enough credit from the older generations. Finally, it means using your voice as a tool to create tangible change. These decisions made by corporate-backed leaders in closed rooms today will impact the generations of tomorrow, our generations. So vote in the primaries, in the general election, and fight for change in systems of oppression that are too scared of how much positive change that we can actually create. Now more than ever, we need leaders that are capable enough and tough enough to fight for the values that truly make us Americans. I want to be that type of leader in California's 47th congressional district, and I'm honored to work every day to earn the trust of our neighbors and prove it to them, just like so many people across the country are trying to do. We are the people of the United States of America, and no matter how hard they try to make us think otherwise, we are the most powerful people in human history. For it's the decisions that we make that not only impact the lives of those in our country, but across the world. And with great power comes great responsibility. So let's use that power, and together we will usher in a new era of unprecedented American prosperity for all, and create a government that is truly by the people, for the people. Thank you all for listening and your time and making your voices heard. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Hunter. I really appreciate that. One question I did see, I know you do have a website which we can probably point people towards, but if you were to highlight like a couple specific policies that you have for the people watching right now, what are like the top 2 or 3 that you would want to kind of highlight for people? And then, yeah, I know your website also has a whole bunch of kind of very specific things that you kind of stand for as well.
Yeah, no, that's a fantastic question. So one of the big things, like I mentioned in the speech, is that both parties never talk about the fact that our entire economic and governmental system has been completely bought out and rigged by massive multinational corporations. Our entire what's supposed to be a free market economy has become at best an oligopoly and at worst a monopoly in so many of our key industries. So one of the major things that we're pushing for is to actually enforce antitrust laws and to make sure that our corporations are actually playing by the fair rules. We've seen for the past essentially 30 years now, both parties have been so beholden on that big money and that corporate interest that they aren't willing to actually push against that and fight for that real structural change. And that's part of the reason why you see massive inflation, massive price rising, is because these corporations have been able to monopolize these industries and artificially boost those prices. For example, since 2020, 50% of inflation has been directly linked to corporate greed, where these companies are just literally able to increase their prices because they can, under the guise of, you know, workers' rights and all these things that they try and throw out to try and hide what the reason is, but that's the exact reason. Another major thing we need to focus on is campaign finance reform. one of the first steps in making sure that we can usher in this new era that we keep talking about is ensuring that the elected officials that we actually elect are people that are willing to make those changes. So we need to make sure that they can't just have people pay off or spend millions of dollars into their campaigns and then artificially let them win these elections. If you've seen, the last presidential election is a perfect example of that, where you had the richest man in the world able to spend $250 million on an election and then get appointed to one of the most influential positions in the government is just an insane reality that we're living in. So actually enforcing laws that can actually prevent corruption, which we've had in the past. We've had eras in the United States where we've had extremely successful anti-corruption laws that have resulted in people being elected to office that are actually representative of the people. So like you mentioned, we have tons of specific policies, so I'd highly encourage everyone to go check them out. But those are kind of the two central ones. But again, there's tons more to go over.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Hunter. And then if anybody has any questions, please send them in the chat. My next question, I guess, is what kind of inspired you to run for political office? I know that you're an attorney right now, so what kind of inspired you to make that change?
Yeah, like I mentioned earlier, I had been working in policy for a while and trying to work with elected officials to really push them on these issues. And unfortunately, myself and a lot of the people I was working with came to the realization that the elected officials a lot of them, there are a few really good leaders that we have that are actually fighting this good fight. But unfortunately, the vast majority have been, like I mentioned earlier, so beholden on big money and corporate interests that they're not willing to actually push for these policies that we need as a nation. So we came to the realization that it's going to take us stepping up and running against them, actually challenging them and putting ourselves into positions of power rather than just trying to broker with those who already have it. So that's kind of like I talked about in the speech, a central aspect of this whole movement. And it's not just us, this is a movement that is happening across the nation where so many people, whether it be, city council members up to Congress, up to the Senate, stepping up and really wanting to take control for ourselves. We need a government by the people for the people, and we currently don't have that. So it's time that we actually step up and put ourselves into these positions.
Awesome. It looks like we're getting a question about Dodge Brothers V4. Do you have any opinion on that, or kind of what your views are on that?
Sorry, you cut out. What was that?
It's Dodge Brothers V4. People are asking kind of what your stance is on that, if you support overturning a court decision.
I'm actually not familiar with that, but I can definitely look into it and get back to y'all. If there's a little more information, that would be helpful, but
yeah. I'm not sure, I don't have the information, but I think, yeah, definitely stay tuned on Hunter's Instagram and kind of getting in touch with him, and I'm sure he'll be able to.
I can definitely reach out to y'all and provide that information.
Amazing. All right, awesome. Well, thank you so much, Hunter. That's all I got for you. Is any kind of last words you want to leave the people with?
Yeah, no, thank you so much. This was a great honor. And again, just want to emphasize the fact that if there's anyone out there even thinking about it or has the inclination to want to run for office, go for it. It's going to take us all working together, trying to push this narrative. And again, there's so many other ways to get involved and be active. So no matter your unique way to contribute is so vitally important. And would just like to, I guess, leave her on a happier note that obviously there's a lot of scary things going on in our country right now, but I want everyone to always remember that we as Americans do have that power. We have that ability. Every single human being across the world has that power and the ability to make real impactful change. So I hope you never forget that, despite all the things we hear on the news or all the voices that try and tell us we can't do it, or all the naysayers. Don't listen, put your head down, get to work, and get the job done. And I know it's going to be possible. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Hunter. All right, everybody. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. That is it for today's free programming. All members, please join us on the Discord server at 6:30 for a mingle session where you can use the different voice channels that we have set up to talk with speakers, candidates, staff members, board members, all of the things. We'll also be kind of getting questions that will be used for the rest of the panels throughout the convention. For tomorrow, we will be getting the day started off here at the same link. We will also be using Zoom rooms tomorrow, so please make sure that you have access to the website where you can see all of the different links to join. We'll be letting you know kind of where to go next throughout the convention as well, but the links will be on our website. All right, thank you everybody for joining us tonight, and we will see you all here tomorrow. Bye-bye.